All right. Good morning. Welcome to another Friday morning safety meeting. It's our last one of July, which is pretty crazy to think about. This week's code item of the week is don't overpromise or underdeliver. I know I always try to measure myself up against the code of conduct, and this is the one that I am constantly having to do self-work on. It's always easy to say in the moment, oh yeah, I'll take care of that or I'll do that. And then a little while later, you realize that takes on a lot more than you expected. So we just want to be mindful of that one. And we're also going to toss in a bonus one real quick, which is strive for restraint, discretion, and integrity. We've, I think this is one of those that can keep tempers from flaring and stuff, especially in the midsummer grind. So just going through work today and all week next week and the weeks coming as we finish out the summer grind, just make sure to put that one at the front of your mind as well. Matt, do you have anything to add?
Nope, nope. Well said. Seen a lot of some conflicts, some arguments on site, so we got to really remember the code of conduct. It's very important. When we break it, we got to be reprimanded for it. So let's keep it top of mind.
Thanks, Matt. Oop, we are, sorry, my apologies. I got some math to do on this. We are 70 days without a recordable injury, 15 days without a first aid injury, and 2 days without an at-fault auto incident.
Good job.
This week, we're going to talk about power tool safety. So there's some blanket rules for power tools. You don't want to wear any excessively baggy clothing. You don't want to have any chains, jewelry, anything that can get caught in the power tool, especially the little danglies on hoodies. Those are infamous for getting caught in there. Same with long hair, stuff like that. So if you have long hair, tie it back. If you have those dangly things, either cut them out or tuck them into your shirt. You want to make sure you're always wearing the proper PPE. You always want to inspect power cords for damage and use GFCI. Same goes for batteries. Make sure to inspect your batteries. We did a safety meeting on that a couple months ago. Only use tools around water that are specifically designed for what use. Inspect tools before you use them, and always use the right tool for the job. Might mean having to make a special trip back to the shop to go to the tool crib or something like that, but a lot of times when we see injuries, it's because people were using the wrong tool for the job, and it came down to just saving time. So we don't want to cause an injury in the name of saving some time. First thing we're going to talk about is angle grinders. You always want to wear your proper PPE, which is safety glasses, face shield, gloves, and hearing protection. You always want to inspect your cutting and grinding wheels prior to use, especially the cutting wheels. Those things can get hairline cracks and big cracks and all sorts of stuff, and people will still use them and then they blow up. Originally, when I was putting this slideshow together, I had pictures of injuries from all these different tools, but I fear it's a little bit graphic since we're going to be posting it on YouTube. But you could, if you do a quick Google search of angle grinder injuries, you can see plenty of discs and people lodged in people's faces, eyes, stuff like that. It's nothing to mess around with, so it's easy, but they're easy to get complacent with because we use them so often. You always want to ensure that all your guards are properly affixed to the grinder. If you have a guard in the right position, 90% of the time it's not going to even fuss with your work as long as you position it properly. You want to be mindful of flying sparks and debris. We did have a small shop fire over the wintertime caused by an angle grinder. So you just want to make sure that all the sparks are going somewhere that is acceptable. And you always want to remove the battery or unplug the grinder before you change cutting wheels, move the guard around, anything like that, that you have your hands around the wheel. Power drills and impacts. Obviously, that's pretty wide range. Anything from power drill to a half-inch pneumatic impact is going to be a lot different than one another, right? We always want to wear safety glasses and gloves, and you need to wear hearing protection where necessary. Obviously, if you're using an M18 drill, you probably don't need hearing protection, but if you're using a half-inch pneumatic impact, you're going to need it. You want to inspect your drill bits and sockets prior to use. You only want to use impact-rated sockets. There's plenty of videos on YouTube of people using chrome sockets on a big old impact and things just absolutely grenading on them. So I want to make sure we're using the right tools for the job once again. And ensure that all the handles are used on them during high torque applications. So those accessory handles aren't just for looks. If you're doing high torque work, you want to have them. Circular saws, we want to wear our proper PPE, which is safety glasses, gloves, hearing protection. We want to inspect blades prior to use, looking for any hairline fractures, anything like that. And you only want to use the appropriate size for the saw you're using and the appropriate type for the material that you're cutting. You want to make sure the guards are all in there properly, they're not falling off or anything like that. You want to be mindful of flying debris, and you want to remove the battery or unplug the saw prior to changing blades. One other thing is that ripping 2x4s and stuff like that with a circular saw is not the right application. Get yourself a table saw if need be. Sawzalls, once again, we use them all the time. Compared to other types of saws, I'd say they're fairly safe, but we just want to go over them real quick. We always want to wear safety glasses, gloves, and hearing protection is needed. The hearing protection need is going to be mostly dependent on what you're cutting. So if you're cutting something that's causing a lot of noise, make sure you put earplugs in. You want to inspect your blades prior to use, same as anything else, and you only want to use the appropriate size blade for what you're cutting. If it's too short, it can kick back on you and stuff like that. If it's too long, you might cut something you don't intend to cut, and you want to make sure that's the right type of blade for whatever you're cutting. You want to make sure that you're just mindful of any flying debris, and that what you're cutting through doesn't have any power or anything like that. Once again, you just want to remove the battery or unplug before you change any blades. And finally, framing nailers. We usually do this as its own standalone, but I figured we've been using them quite a bit out there, so give it an honorable mention in this PowerPoint as well. We always want to wear a proper PPE. Safety glasses is the big one. It's one of those things. Safety squints are not going to protect your eyes from a errant nail. If you've ever seen an eye injury from a nail gun, you will wear safety glasses always. This is one of the things that even at home I wear safety glasses for. An open globe eye injuries, extremely painful, generally not treatable, and whether it's here or something at home, it's a very expensive injury to deal with. The only place even remotely close to here that deals with that is Boston. So we just want to be super mindful of our eyes whenever we're using framing nailers, both for those doing the nailing and those around them. We also want to wear gloves, hearing protection for them. You only use nails that are the proper angle, so you're gonna have your 23s, 28s, your 30s. Make sure that they're the proper length and angle for what you have for a gun. You always want to be mindful of what is beyond the surface of what's being nailed. So if you're nailing a 2x4 and that nail goes straight through the 2x4, where is it going to end up? And if it's your buddy's hand or your buddy's face or something like that, that's not acceptable. We got to change how we're doing things. Never want to override any safety features on them. And once again, you want to remove the battery or remove the air before you attempt to fire the gun prior to clearing jams. Just because some of the older pneumatics can actually store air in them. That wraps up this. You have anything to add, Matt?
Housekeeping is critical when using power tools. So I think that's a big thing, is keeping a job site really clean of a lot of debris, especially if you're doing a lot of cutting. Having kind of a drop area, storage area where you're keeping your excess lumber, stuff like that. So just be real thoughtful about, we do it so often, so frequently, we can get a little lazy sometimes with housekeeping. So let's try to stay up on it when we're doing a lot of cutting lumber and rebar and things like that. Stay up on the housekeeping. I was able to upload that stuff, Tom. Just took me a little bit.
Okay, so
Download those files. Yeah, you see the screen?
I'm trying to get back to it now. Yep, I got you.
All right. So Ben Dow's off today, so I get the lucky privilege to drive the corporate announcements. So August 1st, right around the corner, we have, which is next Friday, half-hour meetings are scheduled from 8 to 11:30. So if you want to discuss your 401k plan, make adjustments to your plan, contact Melanie in admin. Number is there, 264-2280. And her email, mbennett@ecivt.com. Send her a message to secure your meeting if you want to. Just kind of leaving on there again, the ESOP informal meetings. Aaron and Ben and Doug will come to your sites if you guys haven't participated in one, or if you want a refresher or questions. we can schedule those meetings. We did have 2 new employees this week joining us, so it's very exciting. Damian Patterson joining the paving crew. So welcome, Damian. Going to be a good team member for the organization. And then we brought in Noah Roth, our new staff accountant. So he'll be up front if you visit Veronica and Aaron and everybody up front. So introduce yourself to Noah as he's just getting introduced to Vermont. He's from, I think it was Colorado area. So he's excited to join the team to help us up front. Same old with the wellness care, employee assistance program. Take advantage of these other benefits that we have readily available. I know I've gotten some questions on the wellness program, so that's good to see. So take advantage of that. Just scheduling a wellness physical, just making sure everything's all good with yourself. So we're just going to highlight a lot. We have a lot going on, as everybody knows. We got, big push. We only got about 2-3 months before the weather really starts shifting and we start seeing snow potential in the forecast. So got a lot going on. So we just kind of wanted to highlight a lot of the different projects that we might not highlight on a major presentation that we've done in the past. So the first one here, and if any PMs or anybody that wants to unmute themselves and shout out a crew, shout out what's going on a project, feel free. This is very open here. I would love to see more participation in the Friday morning safety meetings or the Friday morning meetings, just any shout out. So I took this photo this week. This is up at Georgia School. We're doing some like a settlement pond reconstruction. Big, there's a lot that went into it. You can see there's some pretty good sized pipe that gets buried. You can't really see it in this photo, but we had to drill a bunch of holes kind of at the end here this ends here going to be in this catch basin. There's baffles in there, had the flow of water and how to kind of mitigate it and have it slowly drained into this pond. So it's a pretty cool project, kind of a quick hitter. I think we've only been there about 2 to 3 weeks. We're almost done. This was the kind of the final last install of the project. So that was Greg Farr and crew up there.
Hey, Matt, I can speak to this one a little bit. This is Ben Heath here.
Yeah.
That job was challenging in that the plans for the project were pretty inadequate and there was a lot of stuff missing and incorrect, and the team did a really good job of navigating that and shifting and pivoting and coming up with new plans and helping the engineer be successful out there. And the job, it was way ahead of schedule, so well done to those guys.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in, Ben. Appreciate it. And this has changed a little bit. This was taken last week, and I'm sure today we have a bridge already in place because we were launching precast beams yesterday. So this is up in Jericho, big 45-day closure, a lot of going on, a lot of hours, a lot of manpower. Really cool job. It's on the safety side, and I'll speak to that. It's been very successful. We've really been really thoughtful with planning ahead and making sure that we got good means of egress. We got handrails up when we need them. It's tough working over water, but we help with that by kind of flooding the river with a lot of stones. So it's really shallow. So we kind of eliminating that drowning hazard that way. Very good project, really neat project. That's a lot of different people have been working on it. So it's been fun to see. And I'm sure we're going to highlight it coming up here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, Matt, and this is Cody. The guys, the team worked real hard yesterday, and yeah, we got the beams set across there. All the forms are stripped off, concrete secured, and yeah, it's it looks much cleaner today with all the sandbags out and out of the river and up and out.
Yeah, you got your big stones already placed on your slopes. It's been you guys have done a lot of work in a week. Looks really cool. Then we got here the Burlington Airport's been a lot of night work. It has its own challenges. So this is Jerry and his crew. Looks like is Tom, do you remember if was this sewer or just
storm drain?
Storm drain? Okay, yeah. The type of pipe kind of threw me off there. Yeah. So a lot of challenging, tough working limits there with waiting for the last flight to get into Burlington before we can actually get out on the tarmac. And then also making sure that we're 100% cleaned up and got all of our equipment off the tarmac before that first flight, usually around 6:30. It's been a tough working windows to get a lot done in a small working windows. So it's been a pretty challenging job that way.
Yeah,
I
it's
can-
been 11:45 to 5:45, so when they've been out there at night, so they really have to make sure they have everything perfectly lined up for their work windows, and they've done a really good job of making sure that they have that, so that way they're not waiting around for anything once their work windows open up. It's also a tough area to navigate out there, believe it or not, because they down all the runway lights and all the taxiway lights, and then you're just kind of everything in front of them is bigger than their headlights cover, so they have done a really good job of navigating and not going into any areas that they're not supposed to. So great job down there.
Yeah, and even through all of that adversity, which is pretty heavy. I mean, the amount of scrutiny and the amount of rules and rigidity of the job is pretty intense. These guys were able to take the night work piece of this project as we had projected it during the bid time and shrink it pretty significantly, which was a benefit to them, of course, so they didn't have to do as much night work, but it was also a huge benefit to the project and to the company. So that job went really well. And I want to give a shout out to the truck drivers on this one too. It's been a big commitment from lots of different people to go out there and
Yep.
do this work at night.
Brian
and so
Harrington, big time.
yeah, Brian and all the drivers, thank you very much for your guys' efforts out there.
Well said.
Yeah, Mac and Eric Merriman and Nebo have been out there a lot too. So
Awesome. We got the Middlebury Library. This project's really technical, working GC with the DW. No, REARC. I'm sorry, REARC. Was down there actually this week. Has changed a lot since this photo. I think, Tom, you took this earlier in the week or maybe last week. But yeah, a lot of
yeah, this was
concrete
early last week.
early last week, so it's a lot of changed already. How quickly we're able to get things formed and poured, stripped and backfilled. Really changing the project quickly this time of year. So a lot of effort. As you can see, there's some pretty good housekeeping in this photo. And then working with other trades, right nearby. So that adds some extra layers of safety, working so closely to other contractors.
This is a really tough job. It is so tight there. They're working deep. They're working right up against existing buildings that have stone foundations. The new portion of the building is crammed up against other buildings. It's a really hard job, and I've been down there a couple times now, and the quality of the work is very good. It looks really nice.
Yeah, and just to echo that, between Nathan Luigi, Randy Piper, Paul Jerome, Michael Jerome, Nate Bellevue, everybody's been really kicking this one hard. They've been doing a great job. There's been a ton of changes from day one, so these guys have been doing an amazing job keeping pace.
Good. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Nick. Really appreciate it. Then we got West Street Rail Crossing. This is like a rail paving kind of joint venture.
Multi.
Go ahead, Jim.
A lot of different trade or company.
Yeah.
It's rail, civil, concrete, paving. So yeah, a lot going on. Tough job. Location.
Yeah, the curvature of the track, the elevation change with the road. There's a lot to match and make it like ride smooth, right, with this one.
Yeah, it's very, very challenging, say, for I think most everything, but paving especially. It's a wicked skew. I had to pave 3 lifts. We actually even paved a base course underneath the railroad tracks in the hole when they first started getting going. So Ron Wallen and crew did a great job, and very challenging. Luckily for parts of it, they were able to close the road, which made it a little bit easier. So that's just paving the top course, I believe, Monday, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice when we're allowed to detour people around us versus trying to flip-flop traffic, trying to do, especially how technical this work was.
Yeah, and a lot of the work's been done with traffic open, and it's one of the busiest roads in Rutland.
Right.
And that section of track right there that's in the crossing is one of the busiest sections of rail, if not the busiest section of rail in the state. So it's been, I mean, you go there for a little while and you see 3 trains go by, and it's like, man, it's just
Huh.
absolutely constant out there. So the rail flaggers have been having to work real hard. All of our guys have been having to work really hard to work around the trains, around the traffic, everything like that. So good job to everybody that's been working on that.
Yep, good planning, good attention to detail. Goes a long way. We got 2A. This is looks like Andrew Piper, Ben Nelson. Looks like we're putting in some traffic signal piers or maybe a sidewalk.
Storm drain.
That's a
Or
storm
sorry,
drain.
Storm drain, yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Eric.
Yeah, the crew out there, this is another job where we have multiple divisions working. We got our signal guys out there, civil guys out there. The pavers have been out there for the last week, on and off. And by the end of next week, we'll have all of the conduits, sleeves in for the signals, and the widening is paved in except for top will be on Industrial Avenue, and also 2A South. So yeah, everybody's doing well out there, doing a really good job. And then just to get back to Georgia Elementary Middle School, because I was on the phone, but yeah, those Greg and Taylor and Ed Wilbur and Coda they've done just a really good job out there. They hit that hard and they got that job done basically 3 weeks, and it probably would have been sooner, but we had a couple hiccups with some fittings because the engineer missed a couple pipe sizes. So just wanted to give a shout out to them.
Yeah, appreciate that, Eric. Goes a long way. And then we got Pinello Road. Brad's been mostly down there. This big kind of residential bridge. It's kind of complete rebuild. You can see the old one. It's off here, off to the left, and that one's hitting hard. I think this was one of the first. I think Phil mentioned this in a meeting. It's one of our first deck pours that we've done in the company with our own 100% us that did this one.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that was completely done in-house with our own bridge screed, which we've used a couple of times on other aspects of the job, but or other aspects of different jobs, but for the first time doing our own bridge deck from start to finish, which the team really came together on and had some innovative ways to make that size work. And yeah, good effort.
Very cool. Very cool. Good job, guys. It's fun being able to do it all ourselves, right? Then we got Randolph Daycare. This is, you got Charlie Fecto and his crew down there working hard. Believe this is HP Cummings is the GC on this one. I think this one's another one. Been a lot of changes down there. So a lot of obstacles.
They're they're wading through the changes as they come, but they come on daily basis down there. But Charlie's dealing with it, and his guys, Mike Ronaldo, Jacob Blondin, and Nick
Nichols.
Nick Wilson. So yeah, they're getting through it. I stopped through there late yesterday. They cut out a little early because it was so hot yesterday, but yeah, things are really shaping up here in the last week and a half. So yeah, it's a tough little site. There's not a lot of room, but it's right on the side of a steep hill, so grades are changing everywhere. And but they're doing a good job down there.
Yeah, trying to make everything match with all the hardscape they probably want to be putting in, plus playgrounds, right? Makes it tough.
Yeah, playgrounds, walking paths. It's
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very
I believe
technical.
the playground goes right behind where Charlie's standing, so there's going to be quite a bit to go into that.
Cool. This is down in Weathersfield. I believe this job is completed.
Yeah, this was
Okay.
another challenge. This was another challenging job that the heavy civil division helped us out with. Ken Allard and his crew. They did an incredible. It was if you saw the previous photos of before we started, and this is pretty close to 100% complete right here. But they went down and hammered it out in basically 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks. But did an incredible job. It was very challenging. We had one big excavator up on top of the slope and another one with Rick Sciandori down at the bottom by the river, and placing big rock around the abutment of the covered bridge. So it was pretty cool job. They did a great job on it.
Yeah. Slope stabilization, really challenging, but also rewarding work because you can get a lot done fast. Line up the aggregate, and again, shout out to all the truckers that bring all that aggregate to these projects. Very important part of it. We got Alberg. I don't know if Tom or
Yeah.
Mike or
Yeah,
Carter.
Yep, I'll jump on this one for sure, Matt.
Yeah.
Good morning. So we're subcontracting for Dirt Tech on this project. South Alberg is getting a water system installed. ECI is installing about 7,000 feet of 6-inch HDPE pipe. It was initially 6,000 feet. They've added just a little under 1,000 now. We've got about 20 bores, and I say about because they continue to add more and more bores. Our initial scope was 18 bores. Now we're up to 20. It was supposed to be some rock and some soil, which is holding true for the most part, but there are more rock bores than anticipated in it. And of course, some of the boreholes are a mix of rock and soil, which makes things a bit difficult. But we're doing great up there. Today's 27 days on site. We've got either installed or drilled out about 3,000 feet of borehole or pipe installed as of yesterday. So guys are doing a great job up there, and Dirt Tech's been pretty easy to deal with on this project.
Yeah, seems like it's a really, really good pace up there. Every time I go visit, everybody's, knows exactly where to be and where they're going next. And you got good laydown areas. It's looks like there's really good teamwork between us and Dirt Tech. It's good to see.
And specifically internally within our own crew, they're really a well-oiled machine up there for sure.
Yeah.
So good job to all those guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
And then last is just Nashville Road. Just wanted to highlight some of the small little quick hitters that we do. I mean, some of these are longer term projects. But you can see this one here, we actually laid this down all just through our paving machine, right, Jim? I think we put all this the aggregate right through our paver to lay this mat down. I believe Brian Martell and those crews was up there, and this one was tricky because of all the traffic control that we kind of had to self-perform a lot on this site. But kind of long story short, what we wanted to highlight today is we got a lot going on. Things are good, but all projects has their own challenges that we got to overcome. And when we can work together as a team through those pre-planning meetings, through the JHAs, through good communications around all different facets of the company, we can. There's no problem that we can't solve, and there's nothing that we can't do. So let's just take a deep breath if you feel like you're getting a little irritated or you're not getting the answers that you need, and let's remember that code of conduct, because there's really nothing that we can't do when we work together. Phil, what were you doing a decade ago? I thought I was pretty wild. I was looking through some of my old photos. I was like, I couldn't believe that was a decade ago. So really right about August. This was August 12th of 2025 or 2015. I'm sorry, 2015. We were at the bottom of the Rygate precast arch culvert that goes into the Connecticut River, and we're forming and tying rebar, getting ready for some of our first pours a decade ago. It's pretty wild how time flies. But another very technical, very, very challenging job that we successfully completed by working together as a team. Pretty cool. So that's really all I have. Let's finish off this week strong. Let's have a great day. Let's have a safe day. If you watch in a group setting, please send Tom over your attendance so we can capture that. Let's have a great one today. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.